Do you have a McCaffrey on any of your fantasy teams?
Oh yeah, yeah, and DFS too. I won like $60 playing DFS.
Nice.
Yeah, I love McCaffrey.
Not last week though,
Not
or
last week,
this
but
week.
right. Yeah, no, this I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, man. I thought the Bucks were gonna be an easy W for them.
Well, yeah, they don't have Cam Newton's mobility anymore, so it turns a three-headed dragon into a one-headed dragon. Because Cam Newton, what was his completion percentage? It was crap.
Right.
And so you take a three-headed dragon with
The three heads are Cam Newton's passing, running, and McCaffrey.
passing to DJ Moore is what I was thinking of. But yeah, and his mobility, and then Christian McCaffrey doing everything.
Yep, we're coming right off that Thursday night game, Panthers against the Bucks. Cut to the chase, we both picked that game wrong. We both picked the Panthers, and Cam Newton looked like doo-doo. So that's 0-1 for both of us
Not
to
a good
start this week.
Not a good start to their season, the Panthers season. 0-2.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't think anybody expected that either, honestly. Rivera's already on the hot seat. Already 2 games into the season.
Wow. That is surprising.
Yeah. So, we will not be picking our week 2 games in this podcast. We're going to be going over talking a bit about last week's games, our thoughts on those, because it was a damn good week 1, man. I'm so glad to have football back. Oh, it's great.
Today I just got my voice back from going to Seattle and watching the game.
That's one of the reasons why we've waited to do this next podcast instead of uploading on Wednesday.
Having a gimpy voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't really sound well. I mean, you could have just toughed through it, although, that probably would have set you back again another couple days.
Unbecoming, yeah. Okay, so getting started with the early games. Kansas City, Jacksonville. Sammy Watkins returned to his early career productivity.
Yeah. You look great.
Yeah, with Tyreek Hill out, he got 38% of his 2018 receiving yards in 1 week.
You think it's because he cut his hair?
I have no idea. I haven't seen his haircut, to be honest. But with Tyreek Hill out for 4 to 6 weeks, Travis Kelce, and McCole Hardman will battle for targets.
Is it McCole or Mecole?
I think it's I don't know.
Maybe it's Michael.
No. It's an E. We'll see. I guess we can look that up later. But McCole Hardman is pretty much a clone of Tyreek Hill. So I guess those three will be battling for targets, and Sammy Watkins obviously has those two on experience, and Kelce has more success, but I think that Sammy Watkins is definitely more of a deep threat than Travis Kelce. His run after catch in week 1 makes me think some sort of major turnaround happened in the offseason, because he has not always been like that, and if he has, it was very early on in his career, and he's had a steep drop off since then. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but I think that it's a change for the good, and it's a more permanent change than just some one and done sort of thing.
Yeah, so yeah, at times Sammy Watkins looked like the fastest guy on the field. 3 touchdowns. It was crazy. He looked faster than the whole Jags defense, which is something that, like you said, we haven't seen from him since his rookie year. So it's good for him, man. Look, man, the key is and will continue to be throughout the season is just Mahomes. He's still the MVP. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I love the he's still trying those no-look passes to Travis Kelce.
That was way bad though. Like, he needs to practice a little more.
Yeah, Andy Reid needs to start employing some no-look pass drills for Mahomes so he can get that down next game. But LaShawn McCoy reunites with Andy Reid, and it looks like a good reunion for both of them.
That looks cool.
Damian Williams, from a fantasy perspective, is going to be a little bit hurt by that, but they still gave him the attempt on the goal line, and he punched that in for a touchdown. He still had more touches than LaShawn McCoy, and it's weird to say, but LaShawn McCoy is kind of Damian Williams' handcuff at this point, which is strange.
That is weird.
And man, poor Nick Foles.
Wow.
Poor guy.
Yeah, and Mahomes went down pretty early too. I didn't get to watch this game. I got to watch highlights, but yeah, I was listening on the radio while I was driving to Seattle that Foles was out, and that was totally roughing the passer.
100%.
By today's standards, landed on him with all of his weight. Yeah, and that sucks. But I have faith in Gardner Minshew pulling off a Tom Brady-esque season.
Listen, man, I really thought the Chiefs had nowhere to go but up on defense, and they let Gardner Minshew, who
made him
sounds
look
like it sounds like
like a golf
Simlish.
name.
Like it sounds like a sim speaking Simlish, honestly. Throw for almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Ramsey was targeted 9 times and allowed 6 catches. He didn't look at his best at all. And Nick Foles can play Week 11 at the earliest since they put him on IR. So hopefully he returns as soon as possible during Week 11. So my prediction was Kansas City. Oh, that's a wrong thing. Anyways, my prediction was Kansas City winning 31 points to whatever. And the actual was Kansas City winning 40-26. We both picked Kansas City, right?
Yep.
Cool. So we are 1-0. Well, 1-1 counting the Thursday game because we both picked the Bears. So both 1-1 at this point. Moving on to the Falcons at Vikings. I picked the Vikings. You picked the Falcons.
Yes, I picked the Falcons. I thought that the passing attack would be a key factor in the Falcons' offense, but the Vikings really managed to diminish that. They held the Falcons' weapons in check, like the many of them. The pass rush did wonders. Coverage did their job, resulting in 4 sacks, 3 takeaways. They blitz a lot, though, and I think that NFL offenses will adjust to the Vikings blitzing so much because they did blitz a lot. I would like to see the stats on it to make sure.
Against a Falcons O-line that was very susceptible to that. I think that was the game plan probably for them going in.
But an easy fix for the next team to play the Vikings will be to make quick passes or like quick dump offs to their running backs.
I really like the Vikings this year, man, and I'm so glad I drafted their defense in fantasy. Hopefully they continue to give big returns all season long. Dalvin Cook's fantasy value, I think, skyrocketed again. Looking at their game plan, I think this is going to be their game plan for the majority of the season. Kirk Cousins isn't going to throw only 10 passes every game, but I think they're going to go to a run-first offense with Dalvin Cook.
Minnesota gets all the props. Their defense gets all the props because Kirk Cousins had less than 100 yards in that game.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when's the last time that happened for a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I don't know. I don't see him very good. It's
insane. But I don't think the Falcons' offense will be this bad all year. If the O-line doesn't get figured out, it won't be much better either. Those are my major takeaways. And honestly, the key for this one was just the Vikings defense, just all around.
100%.
Just a solid unit.
All the props.
So next up, we got Titans at Cleveland, and we both got this one wrong. We both picked the Browns.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, what an odd game.
That was weird. My winning factor for Tennessee was pressure on Baker Mayfield. Made him really uncomfortable. They sacked him 5 times, and although they were all in the fourth quarter during desperation time, trying to make a big comeback time, Baker Mayfield threw 3 picks, all in the fourth quarter. Baker needs better protection. They need to better establish the run game. They
need to make better decisions.
They need to get off to better starts than what they did. They were battling from behind, results in Baker Mayfield just making it worse and worse and worse for the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, that Browns hype train came to a crashing halt. It fell off the rails, man, and it was ugly. It was a big explosion, big fire, and it got everybody, man. Sorry, Browns fans. It overall looked like a complete lack of effort and discipline from the Browns D. There were times where, and I mean, this is a Tennessee offense that not one person in the whole world thought that the Tennessee offense was going to put up 43 points in week 1. Yeah, really weird. I mean, it looked like a veteran coaching staff with Mike Vrabel as the Tennessee head coach, just out coaching first-year head coach Freddie Kitchens all around in that game. And then, of course, Baker Mayfield didn't play his best game at all. I still think I always compare him to Brett Favre in that he's just such a gunslinger. Like, he thinks that he can, and rightfully so, that he can make every throw in the book. But sometimes you need to make the smart throws and the smart reads instead of, going for it all on every down. I mean, when that happens, you end up throwing 3 interceptions and scoring 13 points.
Due respect, that was in desperation time, fourth quarter.
Right.
But yeah, he needs to make better decisions than that.
Also,
sure.
A weird side story in this game: Odell wearing the $300,000 watch, violating the NFL rules with wearing hard objects. It's such a dumb move. Like, hey, he's your problem now, Cleveland. That's all I have to say about that.
Comparatively, I'm completely fine with Odell Beckham Jr. He's, last year this might have been like, oh, what a dumbass. Like, I don't like him because he's wearing a $350,000 watch, but comparatively to what everything else that's going on in the league this year in the offseason too,
it seems mild.
It's not that bad. And I think it's pretty funny that a guy like that just, I mean, it's a $350,000 watch and he's like wearing it out there as a total power move. I think that's kind of funny.
It's an immature power move because, like, who are you trying to impress? Everybody on the field is making, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, what are you trying to say with that watch? Honestly, who's he trying to impress? Like the coach on the other sidelines looking at Odell and being like, man, like, that guy's swagging out with his watch. You see that? No, nobody's paying attention to that, man. Get over it.
Moving on to Buffalo, New York Jets. This was another big defensive performance that took a matchup between two, in my opinion, similar skill set offenses and pushed the Jets over the hump. They gave up a few 20-plus yard plays, but the turnovers definitely tipped the scale in their favor, for sure. Even if they were gift-wrapped, which a couple of them were, a couple of turnovers bounced off people's hands right into their breadbasket, take them, but...
You mean the Bills won this game? The Bills won 17-16. We both picked the Jets, but yeah, the Bills won this game. I mean, the Jets were winning. They had scored 16 points to 0, like going into the fourth quarter, I think, or like halfway through the third quarter. But yeah, the Bills pulled it out. And man, this Bills D is legit, absolutely.
Looks good. I didn't start Josh Allen because I thought that he was gonna start off pretty rough with a couple turnovers. And I was right, but he orchestrated a comeback, pretty good looking comeback too.
Yeah, it was interesting when you're, as a quarterback, when you commit 4 turnovers. I don't know how you still win the game, but I mean, in the fourth quarter, he completely turned it around, and the Bills defense held up throughout the entire game. And with all that being said, and to his credit, outside of Josh Allen, the Bills are kind of a boring watch for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think too many people are tuning into Bills games this season.
John Brown's their number 1 receiver.
Yeah, just not that they just have like kind of average, unexciting players on offense.
Devin Singletary, who they drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, he's all right. He had a splash play in that game, but other than that, here's a weird stat. I mean, for the Jets, Jamison Crowder snags 14 catches on like 20 targets for 99 yards, which is just weird. It's going to be his best game fantasy-wise for sure this season. He's not going to put that up every week, especially now that Sam Darnold has mono. It's not looking good for the Jets.
They got to be cracking down on kissing in the huddle or in the locker room before the games.
Yeah, sorry, coach. You can't keep kissing your players before they leave the tunnel, man. This is what happens. I know you love them, but tune it down a bit. From there, we go to the Ravens at the Dolphins. Do you remember the last time you saw a team score 59 points? Because I don't.
Not 59, no.
I mean, there was the Chiefs and Rams, right?
They
Game
both
last
scored
year.
55 plus or something like they both scored 50 plus.
Yeah.
But not 59.
Not 59, and not letting the other team score only 10.
God.
This was. I mean, it was an entertaining game to watch if you're
Yeah.
not a Dolphins fan.
I mean, even if you're a Dolphins fan, I mean,
You should know you're tanking. You should know by now. If you didn't know, you know now.
yeah.
Sorry. And is Lamar Jackson the new Pat Mahomes of this year?
I don't know. They got a new playbook. They stripped their playbook down to its wrinkly corn purse and just like made it completely to fit Lamar Jackson, to fit Mark Ingram, to fit Marquise Brown. I think that those guys are going to tear it up this year.
Yeah, John Harbaugh is consistently an underrated coach every year. He's been successful. When's the last time the Ravens had a losing season? I think he's the better Harbaugh coach.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree with that. He stayed in the league longer.
Yeah, that's true. But honestly, man, somebody give this man superstar development in Madden 20, dude. Seriously, Lamar Jackson. I mean, his deep ball accuracy has evolved like 10 points since last year.
Wow.
It's an increase.
Yeah, and he and Marquise Brown is a really good fit in that offense. I knew that Marquise Brown was the first receiver off the board, and that was the exact right choice for him.
Yes. He may have not been the first receiver off the board if the Ravens were picking farther down or if they didn't have a first-round pick, but he was definitely, like you said, the best scheme fit for them for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are just tanking. RG3 threw a touchdown on their defense, even going 6 for 6.
Yep.
It's not fun for Dolphins fans. Big sympathy to them.
For next week, look for Sony Michel to make a big fantasy impact. I think that
I'm starting him.
I think the Patriots are gonna run the crap out of the ball because there's no
fingers
need.
crossed.
There's no need to throw a bunch of passes. Run out the clock and. Bill Belichick's not the one to fuck around. He's just gonna hand the ball off, run down the clock.
Literally, just give Sony Michel like 30 carries and win the game.
They don't need 50 points. They're just gonna score probably like 30 at the most. I'm guessing.
Rest your defensive starters, Belichick. Put your backups out there.
No kidding, dude. Oh my god.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But the Ravens' team expectations do need to be tempered a bit though, because we're saying these
high expectations kick off the year.
Yeah. They put up these numbers against the worst team in the NFL, it looks like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, we both picked the Ravens, obviously. Let's move on to the Skins at the Eagles. What you got for that one?
Skins the Eagles. I had the Eagles winning. They had a minus 450 money line, and they really scared me in that one because it started off, 17-0?
Oh, my gosh.
But talk about a mixed bag of emotions in Deshaun Jackson's return to Philly. Deshaun Jackson leaves Philly, signs with the Redskins, and ends up back, or goes to the Buccaneers and then back to Philly to play his former team. Goes back to his former team to play another one of his former teams.
Weird
division
journey.
rival too. But man, he doesn't look like he's lost very much age. He looks great.
He looks fantastic. He now has the second most touchdowns of 50-plus yards in NFL history,
Yep,
behind
I saw
the GOAT, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, he received half of Carson Wentz's total passing yards, split among 8 receivers. So he had half of Carson Wentz's passing yards out of 8 total targets during the game, with 2 of Carson Wentz's 3 touchdowns. So I mean, yeah, you talk about a receiver that can push them over the hump of contention. That's the guy. I mean, I don't want to say that's the guy just yet, but man, he's good.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He looks back to MVP form, pulling off that comeback.
Yeah.
And the Eagles' defense looks like they're underachieving again, just like last year, man. It's crazy because you look at on paper, right? You look at their depth chart.
Yeah, like it looks great. Their pass rush looks awesome. Like one of the most feared.
I don't know what their issues are, man. It's so weird. And Terry McLaurin for the Redskins, wide receiver out of Ohio State, looks great. I loved him coming out of the class last year. And
they might have an exciting wide receiver.
Yeah, he looks as advertised, man. And happy to see both teams have their struggles in the season opener as a Giants fan. and glad to see at least one of them lose.
A glimmer of hope, perhaps?
There's always hope when you're a Giants fan.
Yeah.
Always.
But years to come, hope.
There's a new hope sitting behind Eli Manning, but we'll get to that later. Next up, Rams at Panthers. Now you picked this one right. I picked it wrong. I had the Panthers, and man, we already said what we had to say about the Panthers team this year.
They looked much better in week 1 than this last Thursday.
Yeah.
Put up 27 points against the Rams.
Yeah, so the Rams won at 30-27. I had the Panthers winning by 3, 27-24. I just thought that the Panthers would have a better game plan for both sides of the ball, truly. And Cam is just underachieving supremely this season so far. LA
held the Carolina receivers to 158 yards, not including McCaffrey.
Yeah, crazy. And you know what was so weird about this game? I was watching it, and by halftime, if you had told me that Goff and Gurley had no touchdowns and Aaron Donald didn't have a tackle, I would tell you that the Panthers were up by 14 and they were losing by halftime. It was a strange game, and the Panthers could have won this. They could have won this game, and they just did not. I, again, still think the Rams don't look as good as last year. Gurley looks like a superstar, but he's on a pitch count, it looks like.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brown could wind up being
which is good for the Rams. That's good for the Rams. They found a way to split the carries late in the season last year.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well for him. C.J. Anderson did pretty well. The Patriots didn't do any of their research on C.J. Anderson. They did it all on Todd Gurley. Like, we need to stop Todd Gurley. We need to stop this guy. And C.J. Anderson did pretty well in the late season.
Yeah, Sean McVay's a genius for them. And Malcolm Brown looks like a almost exactly similar running back to C.J. Anderson.
And they added Darrell Henderson, who's a good pass catcher from Memphis. The only downgrade I had on him entering the draft was that he played for Memphis, not against a lot of NFL talent. But he looked good in preseason. I don't know how many touches he got in week 1, but I'm excited for him too. I'm high on him.
Yeah, overall, I will say that I think the Rams look vulnerable this year. And lastly, Malcolm Brown could wind up being actually a premium fantasy handcuff, especially in deep leagues.
It's a bit early to tell.
I think so. If you watch him run, he's one hell of a trucking back. He's pretty great. Next up, we got the Colts at the Chargers. Now, I picked the Chargers. You picked the Colts. So, and the Chargers won 30-24. I had the Chargers winning 21-17. I didn't think they were going to put up as many points as they did. It was an overtime game. And both teams certainly had their bright spots, but at the end of the game, the better QB won his team the game. And both defenses weren't really terrible. If you watch the game, despite the score, their pass rushes look good. And Marlon Mack will probably continue to get high amounts of carries in this offense.
For sure.
And Brissett was, like I said on the last podcast, he was solid, unspectacular in his debut.
Austin Eckler showed up in a big way in the absence of Melvin Gordon.
Definitely, and Justin Jackson behind him.
Yep. Eckler got over 150 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. So the Chargers are making great use of that backfield with Eckler and Justin Jackson, who had 9.7 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if they find a way to keep up that success with Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler, that would be fearful for the rest of the league.
Yeah, and Phillip Rivers knows how to utilize his weapons. He's done it throughout his career. I love him as a quarterback. No matter what the skill sets are around him, he finds a way to make it work. And I think Eckler and Jackson, I think they are both underrated backs, but again, they're not superstars. They're certainly not Melvin Gordon, right? But in that offense, in that scheme with Phillip Rivers, I mean, we saw
two different guys.
Yeah, we saw it this week. This is the damage that they're still capable of.
Yeah.
You want to go on to the your good old Hawks versus the Bengals there?
Yeah.
Must have had a heart attack at that game.
Golly. Yeah, it was still a really fun game to watch. every game at CenturyLink is really fun to watch. Those fans are incredible. Chris Carson was the winning factor in this game, but the Seahawks need to have better play calling. Like it's so predictable, and Chris Carson, when he had the ball, did great. I mean, especially as a catching running back, a receiving running back, had a receiving touchdown, but we almost took an L because of the pure mess ups of the secondary, because John Ross, in my opinion, is one of the worst starting receivers in the league. And what he has going for him is his speed, and that's it. He dropped, I think, 2 passes in that game, like 2 wide open passes. It wasn't raining. Oh my gosh.
Let's not shit talk good old JR3 too much here, because he did put up almost 200 yards.
But dude, he burned the absolute crap out of Trey Flowers and Tedrick Thompson on that one play. Tedrick Thompson completely missed. Tedrick Thompson, our safety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy. Tedrick Thompson completely misread this play, and John Ross went up, got to give me, and his speed finished it off. The only thing he has going for him is his speed, and he completely wrecked the Seattle defense.
Yeah, I would worry about your secondary if I were a Seahawks fan.
We signed 1 cornerback. I think it might have been 2. I don't remember the names, but yeah, we need immediate help there.
Damn right, you better be signing and cutting players after that game.
No kidding. Russell Wilson only had 20 passing attempts, which needs to be more, with home run threat DK Metcalf, with perfect passer rating when targeting Tyler Lockett.
Again, this is another one of those games where you kind of pick the Seahawks because they have the far superior quarterback.
Yeah, totally. But Andy Dalton did great. They have a new playbook, and he did great reading the defense, getting the receivers open. Yeah.
Yeah, which really says a lot about the Seahawks secondary, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's interesting?
I do think it's interesting. I don't think it's good.
I mean, it's a good thing. Listen, man, it's a good thing the rest of the Seahawks defense is top notch.
Yeah.
Man, 400+ yards to Andy Dalton and John Ross, though.
We have some.
And this is without the threat of Joe Mixon for the majority of the game.
Right.
So they're.
Joe Mixon belongs to the front 7 more than the secondary, though.
I know, but the Bengals should be predictable at that point when you lose your star offensive weapon. Changes need to be made quickly.
Well, Giovanni Bernard has always been a pain in the ass for Seattle too. So
yeah, I mean he's aging. He's like 28 now. He's on the back end of his career. But DK Metcalf looked like a solid deep threat, like everybody thought he was going to be. That must have been really fun. He's like Superman, dude. If you look at it's crazy.
Catching traffic ability too. He had it's a small sample size, but oh my god, I'm so excited to see him play. So excited. He's so fast and he catches in traffic. He's big and imposing. Oh gosh.
Yeah, he's new Superman. Sorry, Cam.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I can't wait to see him like learn and evolve his skill set as a receiver and just get better.
Call him Batman, because his body is a human Batman suit.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, man, Hawks won this game because they had the better QB and probably a more veteran coach.
I'd like to think that they were padding Russell Wilson's stats for fourth quarter comebacks, because we scored a touchdown like shortly after the fourth quarter began, the game-winning touchdown. So.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, we both picked the Hawks. That was an easy pick for that game. Now let's go to my team, Giants at Cowboys. Unfortunately, we did not get the win. Sad face. I mean, come on, nobody expected us to win this game. We looked fantastic coming out of the gate, though. We scored a touchdown on our opening drive, and it just like stunned them just right out of the gate. But when that happened, it didn't get my hopes up, because I knew that, if these past few years have been any indication, it's that we cannot close games. That wasn't really the case in this one. We got down in the score pretty early on there, despite scoring that first touchdown. But a lot to still be optimistic about. Saquon having only 15 touches is unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
Horrible.
Jinx, you owe me a Barkley jersey. But understandable given that we were down in the score and passing for 3/4 of the game. But there were also at the same time multiple opportunities on 3rd and short and 4th downs, specifically I think in one play, where we did not hand the ball off to Saquon or throw to Saquon for inexplicable reasons. Look, I understand you don't want to be predictable, but sometimes you just have to simply give it to your best player, man. In those situations, like that's the difference between converting those 3rd and 4th downs and possibly winning the game. Eli was far from the reason we lost this game. Eli played great. No reason to panic there. He looks fine. Evan Ingram's a star, simply. He's going to be a top 5 fantasy tight end this year.
Daniel Jones got some garbage time play.
He did. We saw the GOAT briefly, but we had to cut it, though. We only 4 attempts. We had to rest his arm. It's pretty valuable. We don't want anything happening to him.
Yeah. My quick input is Dak Prescott is no Russell Wilson, but I do not understand how you can avoid paying your quarterback while making your running back the highest paid in the game is beyond me. Especially when you give Ezekiel Elliott 14 touches and Dak Prescott has the game that he has.
They'll get that deal done, and I'll tell you why. Because Kellen Moore now, previous Cowboys quarterback, is their offensive coordinator, and I feel like he has somewhat of a mind meld with Dak. They play together. They probably know each other very well, and Kellen Moore executed that playbook exactly to Dak Prescott's strengths. And tempering that a little bit, because Dak Prescott's strengths aren't very strong, in my opinion, that Giants secondary looked outmatched and inexperienced for the whole game. Look, man, DeAndre Baker did not look good, just flat out. Just did not have a good game. I don't know if it was just coaching. He wasn't getting a good press on his receivers. His hand technique did not look good. He gave up a touchdown on one specific play where he just let, I think it was Michael Gallup, just run right past him with no push off the line whatsoever. Did not attempt to disrupt his route. It was just bad technique. He'll get that figured out. These are rookie mistakes that he's making, and it's understandable because he's a rookie. If you watch that game, there's no reason to panic there. He's got the tools to pick it up. But the rest of the Giants defense, it's Dak Prescott had all day to throw, and again, I think that's a combination of the Cowboys' offensive line being just vastly superior to our pass rush. But with that being said, it's one of the best in the league. I don't think our pass rush is terrible by any means. We didn't get a lot of pressures, but our young players, again, they're young players. It's no reason to panic. And it's the first game of the season, and our offense looked fine. So, and we both picked the Cowboys. I thought the score was going to be a bit closer. I had it 27-20. It was 35-17. But again, a lot of reason to be optimistic for Giants fans. Keep your head up, boys. Not Cowboys, Giants fans.
San Francisco, Tampa Bay. The 49ers get defense, another defense for me that gets 100% of the credit.
And who'd have thunk it?
The 49ers offense just looked abysmal to me. Undisciplined, holier than Swiss cheese, and a lot of their success came from defensive penalties from Tampa Bay. Like their offense was just bad. It was not good. But their defense, they had two defensive touchdowns, and that's great. So I mean, again, all the credit goes to San Francisco, but it was just a bad game all around for all the wrong reasons. It wasn't a good defensive battle necessarily. Jameis Winston just is not very good in my opinion, and the San Francisco defense just overpowered him.
Yeah, and we both picked the 49ers, right?
Yeah, that was an easy one for me.
Yeah. I had them winning by only 3 points. I had it 30-27. They won 31-17. And And this played out completely the opposite of what I thought it was going to be in this game. Four total interceptions for these secondaries, and just to give this dude some recognition because he deserves it. An interception and 3 passes defended for the worst Pro Football Focus graded corner in the NFL last year, Ahkello Witherspoon. Already more than half of the turnovers the 49ers had last year in one game.
Yep.
It's safe to say that year's behind them now, hopefully. And Jimmy G looks rusty, but it's still early,
Yeah.
And Jameis looks like Jameis. Hopefully Bruce Arians can help him out before it's too late.
This year.
Yeah, it might
It
be already too late.
Not very much time, yeah.
And Ronald Jones for Dark Horse Comeback Player of the Year, maybe.
Possibly.
Who knows? He didn't play very well in tonight's game, but he hardly got any playing time in this game. But he looks good when he plays. He looks really solid. He doesn't look like he's coming off a major injury. He runs well. Definitely the talent's there. Let's go to the Lions at the Cardinals. And again, just a weird game. I thought it was really interesting. This was a fun game to watch, especially for Kyler Murray's debut. So we both picked the Lions. It was a tie, 27-27. So we're just gonna count this as a loss for both of us.
Yep. Nobody likes a loss, or nobody likes a tie ever.
No,
that's bad. A tie is just as bad as a loss.
I'll tell you what, though. What are your thoughts on this game? If you have anything that jumps out at you.
Tremaine Brock really crapped the bed.
Yeah, poor guy. I mean, that's what you get if Patrick Peterson is in there in that game, he makes that play.
100%. That stinks. He drops the game-winning interception in field goal range. That just sucks. I don't really have a whole lot of good things to say about this game, but this is the game where I say that the NFC West is undefeated.
I'm still not on that train, but listen, man, the Cardinals did not win this game because of Kyler Murray.
No.
Right?
No.
They also didn't lose because of Kyler Murray.
Orchestrated sort of a comeback, which is pretty good.
Watching this game, and this is why you draft a quarterback like this, number 1 overall. Watching this game, not only is it entertaining, but watching Kyler Murray throw the ball to me and move around in the pocket is special. He looks special.
It looks unfair.
It seriously does. And if he can put it together and really dial in, he's gonna be a star, man. Just watching him, the way the ball comes out of his hand, the way he just snaps it just effortlessly, like 30 yards down the field. It's a thing of beauty, man. It's just pure talent. And hopefully he can be successful with that.
No kidding. I hope the rest of the Arizona Cardinals doesn't make that hard for him to step up.
Well, they will this year.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but Kyler Murray's a future superstar, without a doubt. If I had to compare his arm to a past quarterback or present quarterback, I would say he reminds me a lot of Aaron Rodgers in the way he in his throwing mechanics, not and potential, not obviously not his accuracy. At times his accuracy, but he just reminds me. He has that killer like swagger. You know what I mean? When you just watch him play and you see some of the stuff that he does on the football field, it just blows your mind.
He looks cool and composed, but you could tell that he was really frustrated in week 1.
Absolutely, yeah. And they'll get that figured out.
Yeah.
No worries for man. Good. It's going to be fun to be a Cardinals fan for sure. In the future. Next up, we got I don't even know if I want to talk about this game.
Pittsburgh is a joke. We're going to go into Pittsburgh and kick their ass next week.
I'd ease up on that, but I couldn't have been more wrong about this game. I had the Steelers winning 26-23. I'll say it.
Ouchie.
I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I was wrong. I've accepted that. You had the Patriots though.
Yeah.
And sometimes you look at a team and you look at a coach and you look at history And you can pick and choose, but when you see a lot of evidence pointing in one direction, you're tempted to make that pick. But you shouldn't if you're picking against the Patriots.
Well,
you just shouldn't.
You think the Patriots are going to have a early meltdown in the beginning of the season. So, I mean, it's not a bad bet necessarily, but...
I mean, the whole Steelers team did not play well.
Yeah, the Patriots locked them down in all facets. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers really have a lack of playmaking targets. The only two people with 5+ receptions were Juju Smith-Schuster and Ryan Switzer, and they averaged 9 yards per catch combined.
Right. Again, this is going up against one of the best, the best coached secondary in the league.
They very well prepare for this kind of stuff. They know if they lock down Juju Smith-Schuster, then who the hell else are they going to throw to?
Yeah, and that's what they do year in and year out. They commit whatever and however they can to taking away the other team's best offensive weapon.
Dante Moncrief hauled in 3 of his 10 targets for a total of 7 yards.
James Washington should be starting over him. I don't know why he's not.
Wow.
He has more potential.
But the wide receiver 2 is the position that really has a game-changing difference against the Seahawks. So I'm considering putting Moncrief on my fantasy roster.
I wouldn't, man. It's too much of a gamble for me because he might have one. I don't trust that.
Yeah.
He drops open passes, man. That's what he does.
That's what John Ross does too, but he smoked the crap out of us. I don't know.
Maybe. Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman as always, Philip Dorsett as a deep threat now. You got Antonio Brown on the way and N'Keal Harry down the pipeline. He's on IR. First round pick wide receiver. It's just not fair, man. It's just not fair. They don't even have a good tight end on their roster. Okay, Gronk's gone, and this is what the Patriots are still doing. I hate it. I don't like it. It's not good. It's not fun. Going into the season, it's crazy because everybody, all the experts, all the talking heads are like, "Oh, the Patriots don't have any weapons. This is the year that Tom Brady falls off. Who do they have at wide receiver besides an aging Edelman? They got rid of Amendola, they find a way every year. They don't even have to draft well, dude. Like if N'Keal Harry doesn't play all year, they're gonna be fine.
Right. That's what sucks.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is a genius, but I wish he'd hear us all when we say that we get it.
I love Tom Brady, but I really think it would be super interesting, at least for me personally, to see how he'd work with like a new quarterback, like a rookie quarterback, to see if that success still persisted for them. When that happens, it'll be really interesting. Let's talk about the Broncos Raiders, and then let's talk about the Texans and Saints last, because
that's a good one to end on.
One hell of a game.
That's a perfect one to end on.
Yeah. So I had the Broncos. You had the Raiders. The Raiders won 24-16. For me, I didn't expect Derek Carr to look as good as he did, and I did not expect the Broncos defense to play like this. I thought they were going to get way more pressure. I thought their secondary was going to be able to cover way better. It looks like they have Chris Harris Jr. as a cover corner, and maybe this is because Bryce Callahan for them was out in this game, and nobody besides Chris Harris could cover anything.
Derek Carr went 22 for 26.
Yeah,
85% completion percentage.
And when you have a Hall of Fame potential defensive mastermind coach in Vic Fangio as your head coach, you just expect the defense to be better.
Yeah, and seeing a quarterback complete 22 passes out of 26, that's debilitating for a defense, for a quarterback to make that many completions,
I mean, on the bright side, it was good for... This is the last year that the Raiders are going to be in Oakland. Mm-hmm. So hopefully all the home games for them can be wins, or at least good games, good watches for them. Mm-hmm. And it was in this game, certainly. Their defense also played great. They got great pressure. Benson Mayowa, if anybody knows who that is, got 2 sacks for them as a rotational pass rusher. Their defense didn't look terrible.
Josh Jacobs looks good. I can see why we haven't seen any of him until now.
Yes.
Because he got 23 touches, right?
Yes.
24 touches?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe just 23 carries.
23
he had
carries,
a few
23
catches
carries
too.
and 1 reception. 113 total yards. Yeah, he's their clear workhorse at running back. Yeah, I can understand why we haven't seen any of him. He looks great too. I mean,
He does.
yeah, he's a good solid first round pick to me. I mean, easily the best running back in this class.
He could have had more in that game too if they didn't throw the ball as much as they did.
Right.
They could have probably run with Jacobs 30 times and they still would have won the game.
Yeah. They want to use him sparingly though.
Yeah, which is understandable because he never had, I believe, over 20 touches or something like that in college ever. He was always splitting time in the backfield. But he looked fine in this game, getting 23 carries, so that bodes well for him, especially in fantasy. So I'm happy about that. All right. Man, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now. But
Do we
Texans,
pump up music?
Texans at Saints. So we were both right on this one, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't think we were going to be right.
Dude, in the last 35 seconds. Oh, that was perfect clock management by Drew Brees. Just absolutely perfect how that last drive worked out for him.
Yeah, and Sean Payton.
And Sean. Oh my gosh, the Holy Trinity, Brees, Kamara, and Thomas, gets the credit for that one. Kamara helps make that offense so multidimensional, so you don't know where it's going, and it works. And Kamara himself had 169 all-purpose yards. Michael Thomas was one of 200-yard receivers alongside Ted Ginn. And
Ted Ginn, I believe.
My cat's name is Ginn, and it's spelled the exact same. My bad. I'm not a drunk. But and Breeze was slinging all the way into the like this perfectly managed last drive. And that was beautiful. That was a beautiful thing to see. Will Lutz went home and
Will Clutch.
Yes,
That's what it should be called.
Yeah, that was a beautiful game.
Game of the year, potentially.
I don't know. Next week has a shot with the Rams and the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints look. I mean, their offense looks as good as ever this year. They're probably going to be an 11-win team. And again,
13.
in this game, they almost succumbed to the refs once again. Man,
Oh my god,
it was scary.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention that. The flop by Fairbairn. Oh my gosh.
If you're a Saints fan,
just starfished on the field.
Saints fans are charging anybody wearing pinstripes for the rest of the year.
You should have seen how many people showed up to the game in referee uniforms.
Yeah.
Dude. They were still butthurt over last year.
I would be too.
They see a kicker flop to miss the tying field goal or to miss the winning the winning point.
What would have
after.
been? Yeah.
He flops, and
The Texans kicker just starfishes out after being tapped on the foot by a Saints defender.
Oh, just so awful. And they almost got fisted again by the refs, but yeah, they got Drew Brees. They're lucky they got Drew Brees.
You even, when that play happened, you even had the commentators saying, I don't know who it was, I think it was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman saying that they did not agree with that call at all. It should not have been roughing the kicker. He just, man, it was an ugly flop.
That was horrible. I can't believe that he got away with that. He might get fined for that. He should get fined for that. That sucks. You can't do that to the Saints.
I did start him in fantasy this week, so when that happened, I was actually pretty happy, even though I don't agree with the call. But I'm happy it happened. Deshaun Watson might be a top 5 quarterback in the league this year.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Yeah, he's got Laramie Tunsil to protect him. His offensive line still definitely needs help, but they got an immediate elite upgrade with Laramie Tunsil. I mean, they lose 2 first-round picks doing it, but I mean,
their offensive line already looked better.
It might be worth it if you're investing in a guy like Deshaun Watson. Then it might be worth losing 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. You re-sign him for another 5-6 years. And yeah, absolutely. I think that they don't have any buyer's remorse.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out because they still have to re-sign Laramie Tunsil if he even wants to stay in as a part of the Texans.
That would work out so horribly, horribly, horribly for the Texans if Laramie Tunsil decides he doesn't want there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him not. I can't imagine.
What if both him and Deshaun decide not to re-sign? They'll probably get franchise. Well, Deshaun will probably get
one of
franchise
those guys,
tagged.
maybe both of those guys, is going to get franchise tagged. Well, were they drafted separate years or were they drafted the same year?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think Deshaun
Separate,
Watson. I think Deshaun Watson was drafted the year before.
Yeah.
Laramie Tunsil, so they could franchise tag both of those guys.
Did you see? Did you see? Good old Nuke DeAndre Hopkins playing suplex on Marcus Williams.
That was awesome.
I love that.
That was kind of stupid.
I mean,
'Cause he got
come on.
flagged for it.
I love his commentary though. What he said after the game, he was like, "We're playing tackle, not touch," and
I respect.
I had the
hell out
same
of
thought when that happened. I just wouldn't have thrown the flag. Like when you're if you ever played tackle football, and especially if you're I mean, I'm sure DeAndre Hopkins is a strong dude. He's a football player. But if you're a 200-pound, skinny wide receiver, and you're trying to make that tackle, sometimes picking up the guy and suplexing him is maybe the only way you're making that tackle.
Well, dude, I'm 21 years old, and I was suplexed at a party like maybe 6 months ago, and I was hurting for a long, long time.
Oh, he
dude.
was fine.
My back was all messed up, and I mean, given I'm not nearly as conditioned as these NFL guys, and I'm less trained to take a hit like that. That's DeAndre Hopkins, 6'3". How tall is he?
He's he's like 6'2", but he's not over 210. And I mean, if you look at him, he's not imposing. He's not going to bench press you out of the weight room.
You think that he can't? I think that he could. Yeah, getting.
Why do you think he wears
slammed by a
sleeves
guy-
every game, dude? He ain't got no guns to show. I love him as a receiver, but come on, man.
I don't care. I would never sign up to be suplexed by by DeAndre Hopkins or any NFL player. I don't care if it's Darren Sproles.
He's a safety. This is Marcus Williams. That was his punishment for not making that tackle in the Minnesota Miracle.
You don't think that he was punished enough?
That's true. But I mean, come on. Just let him play. Like they'll get a bit testy, but that's football, man. Just if you're a wide receiver, like you don't practice tackle fundamentals. All right, it's entertaining. Suplex the guy. It wasn't, if you watched it, it didn't look that hard. Again, it's DeAndre Hopkins. He's a wide receiver.
I can't believe you're underestimating the strength of that guy.
They're wearing pads.
Even though we get like 15 views, I'm scared to put that out into the world where he might hear it.
Who cares? He's the best wide receiver in the league, man. He doesn't have anything to worry about. And he's killing it for me in fantasy this year. Was that all the games, I think?
That wraps it up.
So, all right, let's wrap this up. Your record is, you're beating me, right?
Yeah, 11-5. And I tallied up my bets, and I ended up winning $57.73.
Damn.
I ended up netting $53. Well, because I theoretically bet $100 on each of these games. I couldn't place actual bets. Sports betting is not available here, and I work in the sports betting industry where it's highly frowned upon. / I'd get fired if I did go to a sports book and place $100 bets. But I ended up winning about $57. Lost 500. I won $557 and lost 500. I need to start betting on underdogs a little more. Bring that margin up a little bit, because I think I bet on. Let's see, how many underdogs did I bet on? I bet on 1, which I lost. 2, I won the second one, which was San Francisco with a plus 106, which was not big at all, and the Cardinals.
How many underdogs won this week? That would be interesting to see. But I mean, there were a few. I mean, you got the Titans winning.
Yeah, Tennessee won. Buffalo won, which was a pretty big underdog too.
Yeah. Actually, I think
yeah.
that those might have been the only underdogs.
I think they were looking at the sheet. I think they are. That one. But yeah, I'll still try to bet on more underdogs. I don't want to win a measly $50 at a time, you know.
Right.
Especially when I'm playing with theoretical fake money.
Yeah.
I'd like to win.
No need to be frugal there.
Exactly.
So I'm at 9-7. A few bad picks. Again, you don't pick against the Patriots. I learned my lesson. I get it. But yeah, I'm gonna be taking a trip. I'm gonna be gone all next week. So I'm gonna be out of Oregon in a state that allows sports betting. So I'll let you know. Maybe I'll play some bets while I'm out on vacation, and I'll let you know if I net anything or lose all my savings. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We will get our schedule together very soon. After this week, we'll see if we can record while I'm on vacation via Skype. But we'll see how that goes. But like we keep saying, we promise our upload schedule will eventually be Wednesday and Saturday. I promise. Thank you everybody for watching.